So I can't believe it's already been this long, but just over a year ago, I decided to quit my job. So back then, when I was trying to make this decision, it was really hard, and throughout this period, I had a lot of ups and downs. But in today's video, I'll be talking through my journey and whether it was worth making this decision. Let's get to it. So first, a bit of background. At my last job, I was a product marketer at Grab. So I was doing well, I guess. The job was okay, but I was just trying to think, long term, this wasn't really something that I wanted to do. And I had a few other things that I really wanted to pursue all this while, and I thought that it was a good time for me to do it while I was still young and I still didn't have that much commitments. So right now, I've got two things going on. One is this YouTube channel, and I also have an Instagram and a TikTok page as well. So if you guys aren't following me there, then give me a follow. And the other one is I am working as a trader at a proprietary firm based in Malaysia. So this one, I do go to office every single day, even though I don't have to, but I wouldn't consider this a full-time job just because there aren't any commitments and I'm not getting any salary. So it's on a pure profit split basis. So yeah, pretty much every day I would be in office, or every weekday I would be in office from around 8 a.m. and then I would leave maybe around 3:30 or 4. And then I would come back home, I would give it a rest, and then at night I would trade again. Weekends for me are purely for creating my content. So I write my scripts usually on Saturday, and then on Sundays I'll film my videos. So I kind of quit my corporate job where I worked 9 to 5 so that I could become my own boss, and then now I'm working pretty much every single day. So seems like I got scammed, right? But jokes aside, I will talk about the pros and cons of making this decision and whether I thought it was worth it. I'll do it through a few different lenses. The first thing that I want to talk about is my time, which is one of the main reasons that a lot of people want to quit their corporate jobs. So whatever you hear online about, being your own boss and stuff like that, I would say it's kind of true, because now I would say I will have a lot more freedom in terms of my time, in terms of how I plan my work as well as my schedule. So let's say I need to do chores like sending my car for service, bringing my cat to the vet. Usually all these things I would have to do it on weekends, but nowadays I can do it pretty much anytime I want. I still rather do it on weekends because I want to work on weekdays, just like everyone else. But let's say if I really don't have a choice, let's say Proton, which is what my car brand is, let's say they don't have any appointments for Saturdays because everyone wants to send their car on Saturdays, I can do it on a Friday or a Thursday if I needed to, right? So that's a freedom that I can get, which I didn't really have back then, because I had to worry about, if I had leave left, and if I had any leave even, I needed to think whether, I would get this approved because I had other stuff that I needed to do as well. Right now, it's a lot more free. I can pretty much schedule my things however I wanted to. And then the super fun part about this is that, at least to me, is that I still get to work even though I was on holiday. So if I needed to, I can still complete my work. There is no boss or there is no annoying meetings I have to attend, because obviously if you're in a corporate job, most jobs, they wouldn't really allow you to continue working while you're on holiday somewhere else. Even though you get your job done, they will still want you to be in office or at the very least at home, because they think that if you're on holiday, you can't work. If you're working, you can't go on holiday. Whereas now I get to mix and match those two things, which I kind of prefer. I know some people, they want to have clear separation between the two, but the way I work is I like to be able to do both at the same time, just so that, like I said, I can go on holiday pretty much anytime I want. I can go on weekdays, Monday to Friday, when no one else is going on holiday, and when I'm there, I can still get some of my stuff done. Having said all of this, one thing I do want to make clear is that even though I have a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility, I don't actually work less. So if your motivation to quit your job and be your own boss and do your own thing, even if you wanted to just be a freelancer, is because you are lazy or you don't want to work so much anymore, you feel burnt out, then I would say it won't really work out, because these things, they are tough. To run your own business, you have to find clients, stuff like that. It will take up a lot of effort. And yeah, I would say me today compared to me 2 years ago when I was in my corporate job, I would say I actually work more today. The real benefit of doing what I do now, which is basically working on my own and not being in a corporate job, is the flexibility, right? So I could decide to work on weekends and then just rest on weekdays. I could decide to sleep in on a weekday and then just continue working harder at night. It doesn't really matter when or where I work, as long as I get my things done. To me, this is one of the best parts about being self-employed compared to working a full-time job. You're no longer sort of constrained to the normal working hours of Monday to Friday, 9 to 6. I know that there are companies out there who do say that they're flexible, but the limits of their flexibility is like, you can either work 9 to 6 or 10 to 7, it's up to you. So that's how much flexibility they're willing to give, but nothing much more than that. Not that I know of, at least. So yeah, to me, this is one of the big pros of being self-employed compared to working a full-time job. Moving on, let's talk about income. So this part really has its pros and cons. The initial phase of my self-employment journey, it was quite stressful just because the income that I was making at the start wasn't enough to cover my expenses. So these are my monthly things like rent, utilities, phone bills, food, basically stuff that I needed to pay regardless. I knew that my income, at least at the start, wasn't going to be enough to pay for this. So I had to rely on my savings. This wasn't a shock to me though. I knew that this would happen. I just didn't know how long I had to live like this. But I did save up quite a bit of money to prepare for this, and I did have a financial checklist, I guess, that I made before I decided to quit my job. If you guys want to check that out, I did make a video about it. You can check it out here, or I'll leave the link down below as well. But I realized that not having a consistent paycheck coming in every single month, it was stressful. Even though, like I said, I knew this was going to happen and I did prepare for it. So imagine I saved up enough money that even if I made zero income for the entire year, I would still have enough savings to sustain me. But even then, I was stressed out, especially on the early stages when I wasn't making a lot of money. I was stressed out, thinking, what if this doesn't work out? What if I just deplete all my savings and, all of this goes to waste? A lot of these things ran through my mind. But as time went on, I guess my two jobs, I would call it, started getting better and the results were really showing. So I know that 2024 is not over yet. We're still in September, so we have 3 more months to go of this year. But as things stand right now, I am making a lot more money compared to my last drawn salary at Grab. So both of my sources of income right now, which is my content creation as well as my trading, both of them individually is making more than what I used to make at Grab, which essentially means 1 year after quitting my job, I've already managed to sort of double my income. And I would say that if I continued working my full-time job, then it would be almost impossible for me to double my salary in this short of a time frame. The thing is, there's a lot of reliance on other factors as well. It's not just about the company, most companies are just like this. Even if you perform really, really well as an individual, there are a lot of other things that you need to consider. For example, how well the company is doing. And then there's also the fact that these companies, HR, they don't want to promote or pay people too much money too soon, because then it could disrupt the flow, I guess. Other people might be unhappy. There's a lot of these other things that will determine how much money you can actually earn working a full-time job. But when you're running your own business, when you're self-employed and you're not reliant on a salary from another company, then how much money you can earn is really unlimited. The potential is unlimited. The sky is the limit, right? If you're doing really well, you can earn a lot of money. Just because you only earned 50,000 ringgit this year doesn't mean you can't earn 1 million ringgit next year, right? If you start doing really well, you can really make a lot of money. But of course, the opposite is true as well. If your business or your pursuit isn't really working out so well, then you won't be making a lot of money, or you can even lose money depending on what you do. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So I would say that being self-employed, it's a high risk, high reward play. I know that it's not for everyone. I know that most people would prefer having a stable income coming in every single month, regardless of how well you do. And that's completely understandable. It makes sense, right? I think doing this, like I said, it can be very, very stressful, especially when you're not making money. You won't know when your next paycheck is coming. But one big con that I do want to call out about not having a full-time job is that you won't have any automatic investments. So as Malaysians, even if you don't invest any of your own money, you have at the very least EPF, and EPF is quite a bit, right? So I think employees' contribution is 11 or 12%, and then your company's contribution is 12 or 13%. So that's 22 or 23% of your paycheck every single month being invested for your retirement. If you're self-employed like me, you don't have EPF, so you don't have any forced investments, which means that you have to manage it on your own, and this is of course very important. And the thing is, our income is going to be unstable, so the amount of money that we make every single month will be different. So I try my best to save and invest as much as I can, especially on months that I do get quite a bit of money. I even hired a financial planner to help me out with these things. So things like my savings, my investments, my taxes, all of these things, I thought it was just worth it for me to pay a financial planner, have them have a look at it and make sure that I'm on the right track, because I don't want to basically waste this high income. I don't want to make a lot more money this year or in my self-employment journey, but my savings and my investments, I'm not building it because I'm just spending it all. So yeah, I basically decided to hire someone else to help me manage my finances. Finally, I wanted to cover the social aspect of being self-employed. So the truth is, whether we like it or not, our jobs is a big part of our life. We spend so much time doing it, right? Let's say people work 8 hours a day. That's basically 33% of your day being spent at your job doing your work with your colleagues. The thing is, when I had a full-time job, I of course had my colleagues. I have a lot of them. I worked with them. I talked with them every single day. And I did end up being quite close friends with a few of my colleagues. Now, when I'm self-employed, I don't have any more colleagues, so I'm basically working on my own, and it can get pretty lonely. First off, depending on what you do, you might not work with a lot of other people. So again, this depends on what you decide to do in your self-employment journey. But that would mean that you don't have a lot of social interaction on a day-to-day basis. So it's very important for you to still make time to meet up with friends, to spend time with family and stuff like that. And this has to be on weekday nights or weekends when everyone else is basically free as well. But another thing about being self-employed and running a business is that not a lot of people will be able to relate to any struggles that you're facing. So people who have full-time jobs, which is the majority of people, like I said, they will receive their salary every single month. There's not much of a fluctuation in your income. Whereas if your business is not doing well, for example, these times it will happen. You kind of have to deal with it your own. You got to be mentally strong. You got to be able to power through it without having to rely on other people to understand and support you. Having said all of this, I would say that my decision to quit my job a year ago to go on this self-employment journey has been one of the best decisions in my life. Despite all of the struggles and difficulties that sometimes I go through, I at least get to do what I like, and I would get rewarded really nicely if I did it well. So if you're someone who is thinking of doing something similar, then I would say just go for it, especially if you're young. So 1 year ago when I was quitting my job and I told my boss what I wanted to do, how I wanted to be self-employed and stuff like that, he told me that when he was younger, he wanted to do something similar as well, but he just didn't have the courage to pull the trigger, and now he can't do it anymore because he has a lot of commitments with family and stuff like that, and he still regrets not at least trying when he was younger. But yeah, don't just decide to go this route because you hate your job, you're feeling burnt out and you feel like you want to be self-employed because it's easier, because like I said, it's not easy, it's going to be hard as well. So make sure that you have a plan, make sure that you're prepared. And like I said, I did make a video about how I financially prepared to do this before I decided to quit my job. If you guys want to check that out, the link is down below. Anyway, thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. Give me a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.